Thanks for the t-shirt, by the way. It was literally drenched. At what point in your career did you notice yourself packing your laptop with your lacrosse equipment when you were on the road?
Very early on.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, too many bags.
So you were traveling to game weekends and working on the weekend?
Yeah.
Building the company?
Yeah. It was great. I mean, well, when the company started, it wasn't a laundry business, so I was trying to interact with the operations team of the venue we were playing in. I was trying to meet with them for a commercial application.
You were going, all right, we're playing at Hofstra, we're playing at Harvard, New York and Boston. We're playing at the time, at Vesco Field in Denver. And so you were trying to book them as clients?
Yeah, because a lot of the owners in either MLL or NLL at the time had connections to who owned the facility.
Yeah, people ask me that all the time. How do you parlay what you do in sports to what you're doing in business, or parlay what you care about to an opportunity in business? And in sport, the opportunity for any athlete who wants to build a company or invest or get access to other industries is oftentimes through ownership groups or through GMs, or in your case, it was like, the owner of my team owns the venue. That's an opportunity for me to, and then you built a business from it.
Right, you do this with the PLL and a number of facets, and how do you leverage what you're doing in the game and benefiting your business. Yeah, I was there to play a game, but it was also an opportunity to figure out the business side of it.
If you were getting paid $1 million to play lacrosse, would you have started HEX?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I think I knew I couldn't play forever. I wasn't making $1 million, far from it, right?
Yeah.
You know that. And towards the back of my career, really my interest moved more heavily towards creating a business than competing, being 30 years old and still doing it.
Do you think that there are a lot of lacrosse players that are developing that gene by necessity?
100%. I think the difference is whether you're a multi-million-dollar athlete that's getting into an entrepreneur space, it takes the same competitive drive that made you successful as an athlete, no different than us coming out of lacrosse. I think the competitive piece of it is the same. I think you're for most players, their owned audience or their financial state is very different, but I think the opportunity from an entrepreneurial side is real.
What would you say are the translatable skill sets that you have as that off-ball finisher, your style of play on field, to what you've done as an entrepreneur, CEO, a founder?
I mean, I think it's the same process of figuring out what works for you. I don't think there's a blueprint in being a successful athlete, depending your role, or being a successful entrepreneur. I think it's all about, there's a lot more losses than wins in the process, and how you reflect on those losses is really the game.
I mean, I tell people one of the stark differences between sport and business building is humility. To be a world-class athlete, you need to have this almost narcissistic approach, this ego, like you talked about. Could you play in the PLL in your mind? Fuck yeah, I could play in the PLL. That's like the non-practical view that an athlete has to have. In entrepreneurship and in business, you have to be humble, and you have to be self-aware, and you have to be resilient and acceptance of all of these losses along the way. And you have to eat crow, and you have to compromise. All things that are counterintuitive to what gets an athlete to the top. And I notice that is where I see successful athletes that transition to boardrooms versus unsuccessful ones.
Look at how your game has changed in the last 15 years from college to professional, right? I think a lot of people think, we only review the highlights. And I think the players that are really good are the guys that watch the full game. And if you're a guy that just likes looking at your highlights, you're going to be a marginally successful person. I think being able to internalize and watch, I didn't run that ball out, I didn't ride hard, I turned the ball over here. Those are the more important learnings than I had a really good finish here.
Yeah.
I think that translates really well, because I think for us, it's not a set it and forget it, and you know, you get product on a shelf and it moves, or you get on the field and you score your goals. I think it's the process of, you know, you moving from a prolific scorer to a prolific scorer with an insane ability to distribute the ball, then morphing into a co-founder, an entrepreneur, a leader. I think those are all things you grow into from looking at the good, bad, and the ugly, which I think has to happen from an athlete's perspective to compete, as well as from an entrepreneur's perspective.
How do you convince people like me, you said like laundry's non-sexy, to enjoy the process, or does that even matter to you?
I mean, I look at the similarities between what we're doing and what the PLL is doing. Is I truly believe the PLL is going to be huge because of the non-lacrosse sports fan that's going to love the game. I think that's a massive win. And for us, what we've found in laundry is distribution is the opportunity. I mean, distribution and awareness to certain audiences, right? Like, what we've learned is people don't necessarily think laundry is a problem until you engage in the conversation. Like, did you know fabrics have wildly changed and synthetics are what we're wearing, and they require a different solution, just like a number of other cleaning products used for certain surfaces, and that's why they're effective. There isn't a one solution fits all in laundry, and we think that, you know, there's a real big opportunity in this business to provide a solution for millions and millions of households that want, you know, something they're investing in to last and perform.
Do you find that, I do at least, lacrosse players, lacrosse fans, lacrosse parents are super loyal? You know, out of that loyalty, lacrosse takes care of their own. And this is a huge category, and we have an entrepreneur with us that, you know, started his life in lacrosse, built a business to solve for some problems in lacrosse, and now has exceeded that opportunity far beyond just lacrosse into laundry. Like, I want people to be aware of the HEX brand and the HEX roots.
So the clothes we live and move in have changed, but our laundry detergent hasn't.
This brand and product was really built during my playing careers for solving challenges I needed, right? I wanted all the different companies that sponsor the leagues, I wanted that stuff to perform and frankly be in a better state than it was for when I was wearing it. And that's not just apparel, that's gear. I mean, think of all the protective equipment we wear that we never clean. This thing was born from a personal need and morphed into really understanding that there's any active household is looking for the solution, they don't know it exists. You know, we've gotten some awesome distribution in Targets and Wegmans and Myers. The challenge in our category is just getting on the shelf.
One of the things that Drew and I talk about a lot is we're in the same business, relatively speaking, around getting new customers, but what we never forget about is our core customer. And so whether it's putting the PLL on NBC, we know we can count on lacrosse fans to show up and watch. And Drew is going after a massive category that's used to, you know, kind of the blue chip brands that are in the aisles. What I know Drew and hopefully like you can count on is lacrosse fans to support HEX and get an incredible solvent for their laundry needs. And then you're also going after people who are non-lacrosse fans that can come by the aisle and hopefully see it. Like, we're going after casual sports fans and sometimes just people that are watching NBC to say, oh, this is lacrosse. Maybe they stick around and they become fans of the game. Let's go. Didn't bring this up when I asked you about favorite memory in lacrosse.
I didn't. That was a good one.
12-10.
That was a good one.
Look at the big bear right there.
Not looking at the camera.
Yeah. You
I don't know who I'm looking at, but.
We were so pumped. All right, so we have your products here.
Yep.
The first thing I saw when I walked in was this like bottle that's deodorizing spray. Unstink your stuff. And I was like, you just shoot this on your shirt? And you're like, no, you can put it on your pads, you can put it in your shoes. You know how bad my shoes smell?
Yeah.
Like, I can just fucking spray these things?
Yeah.
This is great.
So like all the stuff you wouldn't traditionally launder. Lacrosse gear, helmets, yoga mats, footwear, Peloton, anything you want to clean that you're sweating on.
And where do you buy it?
Target.com, Wegmans, Meijer, Amazon.
Yeah. So this is just a bottle you can throw in your gear bag or have in your car.
That one's different. That one's actually stain remover. So most stain removers to get out, like, you know, you have grass on your shirt, right?
Yeah, I'm like pouring water and like rubbing like a bar of soap on it.
A little different with activewear. A lot of the stains aren't necessarily visible stains. They're odor, underarm, things like that. So this is actually stain remover for sports types of stains like blood, sweat, grass stain, but it's also has some deodorizer in it. So
I remember when we were first talking about your company, you paid a lot of attention to product and like the look and the feel and the usability of it.
Mm-hmm. You know, we found is like you can push on the category and be what we thought was really cool. That thing was awesome. It shipped really well. It was a great user experience, but it didn't look like laundry. So in retail, we learned really quickly that it could be in the laundry aisle and someone would be like, what is this?
Yeah.
It was eye-opening to be like, you kind of have to conform in certain areas. We moved to bottles and liquid went into bottles. It kind of pained me originally, but it worked out really well. So we do liquid detergents, single dose, basically a full regimen of products. So if you think about the confusion in the category is you read the care tag of an activewear shirt. It'll say, don't use regular detergent, don't use dryer sheets, don't use, so what do you do? So there's this confusion. So we tried to build a regimen that everywhere says safe for activewear, so that consumers knew that we built a regimen. You could still use detergents, additives, dryer sheets, stain removers, etc., that were going to negatively affect activewear.
Yeah.
So it's laundry to this is what's in Target. This is a new product that actually explicitly says it kills bacteria and inhibits it from regrowing for up to 6 weeks. So
You have to go through the right approval process, and that took a while for you to actually say kills and prevents bacteria that causes odors.
That's
the
right.
kill piece was big because like that was industry changing.
EPA regulates any type of pesticide or antimicrobial claim where you say you kill something. The cool thing about this is it's super safe from a skin perspective, a biodegradation perspective, but it's really effective. There's really nothing in the cleaning category at large that talks about prevention. Everything's like a reactive, like I have an issue, I get rid of it. We were like, that's great, let's get rid of the issue, but also prevent that issue from coming back. And that's a real difference from us, is this notion of prevention, or how do you protect the performance, longevity, odor in the stuff you're investing in.
With HEX, protection actually increases with each wash.
I mean, this thing is insane. I think I want to carry it just in my back pocket. Like,
Yeah.
anything you need. Odors are everywhere, just spray. It's so much easier. You think about like packaging, and we've talked about it before, how important, this kind of reminds me of the GNC category. Like there's so many vitamins and so many different proteins and amino acids, and you're like, what do I take? When do I take it? I have to read this nutritional label, and that's how the laundry category has been for me. It's confusing, so I give up on it. And now it's like, bang, kills, prevents bacteria. You have safe for active wear. It's like very clear, and I think that's important. Obviously, we're doing this because of two reasons. One, we're close friends, but today we're really lucky and proud to have HEX as our performance partner in this category, and want to continue to build the PLL and do our best to drive awareness and get you all the targets and online to try HEX for yourself. I think it's an incredible display and marriage of what the game is, what we're both trying to do in our respective careers. And I want to continue to build this relationship.
It's mutual.
Yeah. Let's end card this with Drew Westervelt highlights. It's been so long.